Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on the weTHRIVE podcast, where we share stories from entrepreneurs around the world about how they're creating an impactful legacy. I'm your host, Casey Clark, the founder and chief growth officer of C. Clark Consulting, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing Miss Stefanie Carey, who is the founder and CEO of the Etta Lloyd Walker Foundation. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Casey, for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a wife and mother to two adorable children, one 7 and one 3-year-old, giving me all the joy in my life. I also hold a master's degree in international business, and I have several years of professional experience. As you mentioned, I'm also the founder and CEO of Etta Lloyd Walker Foundation. I'm also from a little country in West Africa called Liberia.
Okay.
Um, well, I guess I'll let you wait. I'll let you ask about my business, or if you want me to talk a little bit about it, I can as well.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us a little bit about it.
So, about my business at the Lloyd Walker Foundation, it was birthed back in 2017. And named after my grand aunt, who was a nurse and dedicated her time to helping people. She was almost like the charity home in the community. And who else could I have thought of to name my foundation after other than her? Because the foundation actually embodies who she is. And I actually felt called to do this at an early age when my peers would come up to me and ask me for help. And, I don't know if they thought I could afford more or I was just bigger than them. I don't know. But without thinking about it too much, I would go and ask my mom for food or money or whatever it is that I could assist with. And I realized that every time I was able to help a friend, with overcome an obstacle or just whatever it was in life, it really fulfilled me. So rather than just giving little helps here and there, I decided to just establish an organization. And so I registered it back in 2017 in Liberia. And I did the same last year in the US. So we are a 501c3 organization and we are ready to go. Yes, we have several programs. We have the mentorship program, we have the scholarship program, which is exclusive to Liberia. We also have the skills training program, and we also have the emergency assistance program. We are officially launching at the end of this month with 20 students in our scholarship program. So I'm super excited about that. Can't wait.
That is
And so
awesome.
what it is now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is so awesome. I can't wait to just hear about their stories and everything. So, how
Totally,
exciting.
totally.
Yeah, awesome. So, what exactly does the word thriving mean to you? And given what you do with the foundation, I'm really, really interested in hearing.
So for me, thriving to me means discipline. It means doing what needs to be done and not what you want to do. Don't get me wrong. It's nice, to do what you want to do, but it takes real discipline to do what needs to be done. So I will give a little example that I always give with eating healthy and working out. Now, working out, just like eating healthy, it requires a lot of discipline. When we don't eat healthy, sometimes it's easy for us to put up our workout routine, for a day or I don't feel like eating spinach today. My appetite calls for something else. And then what happens when you continue to put out your workout, when you continue to eat the fast food just because you're so tired to go into the kitchen, or you're so tired to go to the gym, or maybe even put on a YouTube channel to work out, you start getting fat, you start getting tired. Your body isn't responding well anymore because you're not feeding it well. But when you're disciplined enough to go to that gym and achieve your health goals, or go to the store and buy the proper meal for yourself and actually cook it, your body starts to thank you. You become a better version of yourself. You perform better. You think better. You're able to comprehend better, you become wiser because you're feeding your brain, you're well rested. And so, when you're able to showcase a better version of yourself through being disciplined, you thrive more. So, for me, thriving begins with discipline first, because when you're disciplined, you thrive. If you're not disciplined, you're not going to go anywhere. Nobody ever succeeded from just sitting down and being tired and waiting for anything to come. And the same goes with my foundation as well. If I was just sitting down, I wouldn't have met an awesome person like you to to help me with my website and other things that you have also helped me with. I had to get out there and do it, and it's because I believe I was disciplined. There were days where I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to research. I didn't feel like reading. I didn't feel like writing. And with my profession, I write a lot of content, and I have to be disciplined to do that. So thriving for me means discipline.
Yeah, well, God knew I need to hear from you today, because I'm sitting here with my little water bottle trying to get my 90 ounces in today. So
That's good. I'm on my 1 gallon. I do 1 gallon a day.
oh, wow. That's awesome. I'm horrible with measurements. I have no idea how many ounces that is. So I just know it's a lot. So kudos to you. So you talk about being disciplined. So what are some obstacles that you have faced personally when you've been trying to thrive?
Whew, so many. Starting with the fact that I was born and raised in Liberia. And unfortunately, I was born right at the start of a 14-year civil war. But fortunately, that 14-year civil war is what has caused me to become really focused and driven. The Civil War killed between 250,000 to 400,000 people.
Wow.
And that totally devastated my country. During the time of the war, I was a young student. And as we all know, education plays a major role in our lives. I believe due to the war, I was tremendously set back. And set back in the sense of where I graduated at the age of 18 rather than 16. Whenever we went back to school, we had to close schools because there were fighting going on and it wasn't safe to continue going to school. There was a lot of the war caused a lot of corruption, a lot of exploitation of young people, not just the females, but young people as a whole. School system became a flop, and is literally still a flop. Unfortunately. And everything, as a matter of fact, became a flop. We actually ranked the 8th poorest country in the world, sadly. And I feel like the lack of opportunities and the poor educational system in my country has really stalled me a lot in becoming who I was supposed to become. Right now, in my 30s, I feel like if I had the opportunities that I have now, being able to get those opportunities from other country, if my country had the same opportunities, I would be far off, I believe. So the war, I was born right at the start of the war, and that hindered a lot of my successes. It really took us backward. The school system isn't good. There's nobody to mentor you properly without you being exploited. So I had to seek other opportunities outside of Liberia so that I could go back and give. And that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah, that's awesome that you are now, in a position to be able to give back.
Yep.
Yeah. So what are some of the resources that have helped you be able to give back and be able to thrive?
Again, I would say discipline.
That darn discipline.
So being disciplined to stay grounded, and believe in my purpose, no matter what the situation is, that has really helped me thrive. I'll give a short story. When I started my master's program in a new country, starting, like, I knew nobody here at all. Well, I do have family, but my families live in different states or just different cities, and they weren't close enough to help me. And I did bring somebody else, my nanny from back home, who would watch my kids sometimes for me. I was able to bring her along with me, and when it was, I don't know, she got scared or whatever the problem was, but she ran away because she knew we had to go back home. She knew we had to go back home, and so she ran away. And when she ran away, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to start. Here I am with two young kids in a brand new country. Well, even though I have been here several times, but have never lived. And now I have a full-time job. I have to go to school full-time. So again, discipline. I had to literally structure my mind to be able to do what I had to do, in terms of my scheduling, in terms of my focus on what I really needed to do. I had to literally write things down. Um, and this has helped me, to never give up, and to keep working to become a better version of myself while working, to help others become better versions of themselves as well. The children, my children, I would say, and also, the children as a whole, the youth as a whole, underserved youth especially, they help me, they help me to keep thriving, um, and stay true to my purpose, especially knowing how underdeveloped my country is. It sounds big for now, but I know once the time reaches, it will be like a regular thing. But I want to be a part of the change in Liberia, so that when kids are saying that, I'm a minister today in the government, or I have my own business, I want them to be able to say ELWF played a major role, in my upbringing. And I want my children to also experience a better life, and I don't mean a luxurious one, but a life where there are opportunities, an environment to succeed and grow, where everyone is equal. So all of those things, whenever they cross my mind, they help to keep me focused, they help to keep me grounded. And I realize again why discipline is important, because if I don't focus, if these things aren't in my mind, I won't be disciplined enough to do the work. So
Yeah.
discipline, I would say discipline has really helped me thrive.
Yeah. And knowing a little bit about your story, and like you shared at the beginning of the podcast, I can imagine how much of a resource your aunt was just by
Mhm.
demonstrating what she did and being the person that she
Oh
was.
yeah, totally, totally, totally. And to be honest, I feel like some of the reasons for who I am today and who my mother, who she is today, is because of her. My mother is a very giving person. Not to toot her horn, but when I was growing up, I always had a issue with why she just had so many people around, and I didn't know at the point, I mean, at the time, that she was really helping these people with whether it was schools or medical bill or just food or whatever, she was always helping them. And then I realized that, hmm, growing up with her aunts, and seeing her do these things, it just probably became a norm. And then I found myself doing them because that's what was in my household. And then it just didn't become a norm anymore. It became a fulfillment, you know, because I would literally feel the energy of people who were really going through problems. And I will put myself in their situation, and it will bother me so much. And I will make sure that, whether it was my last, whether I had to beg, I would do it, and I would help that person. Well, it didn't have to be the full service, but the fact that I was able to contribute and seeing that person smile again, it really fulfilled me, So up to the day's date, even my kids, sometimes it's hard to tell them no. Sometimes it's hard to tell them no, and it's just because I don't want to see that sad face. And then when I think about how much God has blessed me, especially during the war, I'm not from a rich family. Um, my family, thank God, thankfully, they can afford. My mom could afford to put me in better schools back home. Provide me with a better lifestyle than others. And so I'm sitting down like, why can't the same opportunities, be given to other people? And now I realized why my aunt, she was such a charity home. I realized that this is the same way she felt whenever she took in another child, or whenever she helped a pregnant lady with her medical bills, or, you know, helped an abused child, or a child living in an abusive home. So yeah, she also contributed to some of the reasons of my thriving today.
That's awesome. So talk about a legacy. I mean, so many people that I have talked to during the podcast and just in general conversation, they talk about how they're kind of creating this legacy from scratch, but it sounds like it's kind of been modeled for generations for you. So
You
that's
know,
awesome.
it's so funny because I have never really thought of a legacy. and 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 it's not until I think it was 2 or 3 months ago, because I'm heavy on my religion. I'm a Christian. And so most of the time I listen to gospel music, and there's this song called Legacy. And it goes in a way where the guy, he's singing, saying that he doesn't want a legacy on earth, because he wants his legacy to be in God's name, which is great. So I was thinking, I said, we always want to leave legacies behind. Um, but I still don't even view this as, as a legacy for me. But I would still say a legacy for me will be, being able to at least help change a person's life, even if it's one person.
Mhm.
I feel like just knowing that Stefanie or ELW Foundation contributed to this person's life, and that's a story that will go on for generation. I feel like that it's very powerful. And you know not just the way they live, but also their mindset, being able to talk about how much they were changed, how they solve problems, how through the foundation and through me, how impactful their life have become, giving them a different perspective on life. And that would be a great legacy for me. Legacy, when I think about legacy, I don't just think about a business, or I think about impactful things. I
Mhm.
think about, and for some people it may be generational wealth, some people it may be obtaining, they could be a first generation master's degree holder or college degree holder, or for some people it could be starting a fund for your kids. But for me, I want it to be something that is really fulfilling to me, something that's meaningful, something that's impactful, something that's inspiring. Not just a building, but something that can be taught for years and years and years to come. So that would definitely be a legacy for me, to know that I created that impact on somebody's life.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate how humble you are, and I don't think you give yourself enough credit for all the good that you're doing. So
Thank you.
you
Thank
are
you.
very welcome. I love the dreams that you have and just what you're doing to stay disciplined and work towards them.
It's hard, but I mean, that's where discipline comes. Because I'm telling you, man, especially during the pandemic, when we had to stay home and daycare was closed. Oh my God, there were times where I thought I was going to lose my mind. I found myself even having to meditate in my bathroom at in the middle of a work day. I had to leave my work and go in the bathroom and just
Mhm.
close my ears and meditate, and try to calm my nerves, because I was like, I'm gonna kill these kids.
I think you and every other parent in America felt that way.
Yep. But then it's also interesting how there will be days that I feel so down and I feel so tired, but then I I all of a sudden get this push, and I start realizing that if you don't do this work, you're not going to succeed. If you don't do this research, you're not going to get the information you need. Then I kick myself like, oh, there goes discipline again. Discipline, discipline. And then I have to get up and I have to do it. And then once I do it, I'm like, yep, it's out of the way. I'm done. It's
Yeah.
finished. I'm done. Yeah.
Absolutely. So aside from being disciplined, what other tips do you have for anyone who might be looking to start a nonprofit or even just a business?
Hmm. What other tips? So I would say look at yourself in the mirror, and imagine who you would be if you weren't in the situation you're in right now. And then work super hard towards it, because that's what I did. When I worked with Brussels Airlines, I always knew I never had interest in working with the airline. So I looked at myself and I was like, are you happy? Like this was literally me doing that. I stood up in a mirror in a bathroom at my job. And I asked myself, like, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Are you happy here? And I said, no, I'm not happy. Then I told myself, well, these are the things that you want, and these are the things you need to do to start getting onto it. So I'll say, work super hard towards it. It will definitely not be easy, but you have to find your purpose and be consistent. Um, Finding your purpose sometimes isn't easy because a lot of people, depend on their 9 to 5, and not a lot of people have the um, privilege to be able to do what they truly love.
Yeah.
But and I'm among those people who don't have the privilege to do what they truly love, but but God has blessed me to be able to just get up and go, and just go by faith, and being able to say, you know what, God, for some reason you have pushed me here, and I don't understand why you're pushing me here right now, but I'm trusting in you. And I use God because I'm a Christian, but it could be whoever that you believe, whichever higher power that you believe in, continue to focus on your purpose, write down your goals. It's important to write down your goals. I write down everything, even my daily goals. Like first thing in the morning, I get up, even though I know that there are things to do, but they're all over the place in my head. So I have to visualize my day, and then I have to write down those things that I have to get done at the end of the day. By the next day, by the end of that day, that sheet, what what am I saying? By the end of the sheet, I already know how to plan my next day's goal. And that's how I crush them. So I start with daily goals that are underneath my overall goal. So those daily goals are what's going to help me to achieve the overall goal. So write down your goals, you know, and just be very consistent about your goals. Be disciplined. Again, discipline. You have to
I'm gonna
realize that.
dream of that word tonight.
Yeah, and then I like the question you ask also. So after you have written down your goals, after you have realized that you don't want to be in the situation you're in while you're working towards it, then now start to picture your legacy. That was something that I never really thought of until a few months ago. My legacy, as I already explained, would be changing somebody's life. For another person, it could be generational wealth. It could be having educated children. It could be becoming a businessman or a businesswoman. But whatever you do, work very hard towards it. Be consistent. Be disciplined. And one major thing I always tell myself, especially when something is so difficult, I always tell myself, when Stefanie, remember, it took 13 hours to build a Toyota, and it took 6 months to build a Rolls Royce. So you had to decide: do you want a Toyota or do you want a Rolls Royce? Which one do you want?
Ah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I always pep talk myself like that. Especially with my organization, I always tell myself, sometimes when things don't go the way I want it to go, I pat myself and I tell myself, "You're a Rolls Royce. You're a Rolls Royce. You're not a Toyota." And don't get me wrong, Toyotas are strong cars. They're strong cars. But if you want a strong car and a luxurious car combined, you got to put in that work.
I
So
love it. And I'm a
yeah.
car person, so I can relate. I love that though.
I
That's awesome.
learned that in business school when I was doing my master's. That my professor definitely said that there's this one day that we kept complaining, oh, schoolwork is so hard and it's so tiring, especially when you have kids. And then he said, well, it takes 13 hours to build a Toyota, and it takes 6 months to build a Rolls Royce. So you need to understand that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Um, I think we covered it. I think we covered everything. What I would say is follow and like EW Foundation. On Facebook, we are Etta Lloyd Walker Foundation, and on Instagram, we are ELW_Foundation. Our website is launching pretty soon. And we also have some amazing podcasts that's going to be played on the website. It's going to be hosted on YouTube as well as Podbean. So get with it. You're going to get your life changed. And I'm just looking forward to, serving people, being able to fulfill other people's life so that I can be fulfilled as well. That is literally my happy place. So I'm just looking forward to that.
Awesome. Well, thanks to you. I'm going to stay disciplined and I'm going to be a Rolls Royce.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you so much for all of the great information you shared today. And I'd also like to thank our music sponsor, Stephen Lamar Moore, who produced the music for our podcast. So thank you so much again, Stefanie. It's always great talking with you.
Thank you too. Thank you so much too for having me. I had a lot of fun.
Good.